Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lover Society with me, Gert Retief. And tonight it's all about the peat. It's all about the peated whiskey, all about the smoky whiskey, maybe finding a little bit of a medicinal note, maybe a little bit of a band-aid, a little bit of a tire note, a little bit of an iodine note. So all about the good flavors, the bad flavors when it comes to the peated whiskey. Of course, we have a divided audience, the people that love the peated whiskey, the people that keep on chasing the higher ppms. And when you get people like me, the ordinary people, that not a big fan of the peated whiskies. Now I keep on telling everybody that I'm not a fan of it. And then I looked at my bar and realized that I do have a hell of a lot of peated whiskies on the bar. So that means there is a little bit of a change in attitude when it comes to my profile with peated whiskey. So I take a look on what I have, and I decided to make a quick little video. Well, maybe not such a quick video, but a look at the peated whiskies that's on my bar. So of course this is not going to be an extensive list of the best whiskey or the best peated whiskey that you might enjoy. This is just my preferences, the ones that I have on the bar. Then I'm going to pick about 5 of them and to give a little bit of an overview on those 5. And in the end, I'm going to pick one that I enjoy the most. So no particular order. I think the first peated whiskey that I had, well, I'm sure it was the first, it was the Ardbeg 10. Absolutely vile, horrible stuff. I couldn't drink it. It went down the drain, but that was many years ago. And that was my first experience with a peated whiskey. Was not a fan. So it took some time for me to get back onto the peated whiskey. And I think one of the first ones that I received, and this one was a sample that came from the whiskey friend, Alan Wilson. And he sent me a Kilkerran heavily peated whiskey sample. And I was a little bit shocked. It was really difficult for me. But I prevailed, and in the back I did find all these nice notes coming out, giving it a little bit of time, giving it a little bit of water, and then I started appreciating it. But it was a difficult journey for me in the beginning. So the Benromach peated, I kind of like the Benromach peated because it's not that overly medicinal, kick your teeth out peat. Then I also looked at maybe making things a little bit sweeter. And one of the first ones that I did buy was the Millstone. And the only reason that I bought this one, because I was chasing the Pedro Jimenez. So that PX made it for me. And so I was quite excited, quite happy when I bought this bottle. And of course, you have a reward and you have this risk factor or the love-hate relationship between the sweetness and the peated whiskey. And this one had a little bit of a problem for me. And I'm just going to make sure if it's still there. This has been standing in my cupboard for now probably 8-9 months, if not longer. I did share with I was not the only one drinking it. So this one was quite shared with some other friends. They did like it. For me, I'm just going to put a little bit in. Yeah, it's still there. It is the burnt rubber. It's definitely there. The air when you open up the valve of a tire and you let that old stinky air go out, I'm still getting that. That raw rubber note is definitely there. But if you can get past that little rubber note, on the taste, I did like it. But it's strong. It is very strong rubber sulfur note coming out. On the taste, absolutely Pedro Jimenez, sweet, lovely flavors. complex, with a little bit of a rubber note in it. I do like it. Only thing that bothered me is that air, that stinky tire air. It reminds me back at school. You have to get a puncture. You have to take the tire out, and then that smell of it. It's just a little bit off-putting for me. What I also liked, it was the old Belantro from Tomentel. But there's something also like it, but it's a little bit of a drink it and forget it. So it's nothing that sticks into the mind that says, I remember that, and that's something that I would go back to. Amrut Peated also. I kind of like it. I like the sweetness of it. But it's also something that is a little bit of a buy it, drink it, and forget about it. Tomentel Peated, the same thing for me. It doesn't stand out for me. A little bit young side, a little bit mediocre side for me. I liked it, but it's definitely not going to make the top 5 list for me. And then the first one that I really liked, and of course this was the Benriach Curiositas, 10-year-old. This is a nice whiskey, so I did appreciate this one. I liked the level of the smoke, and it was just very well balanced to me. So this one was definitely going to always be part of my top 5 whiskies, and I will go into that a little bit later on. So also the Benromach Lagavulin, also a little bit forgettable. Connemara Peated single malt. Yeah, it's nice, drinkable and everything. I like drinking it. I will probably drink some more of it. Not going to buy a full bottle of that now. Lefroy, Lefroy 10. Some people love it. Definitely, I'm not going to be a big fan. I will never order that in a bar. It is definitely, that for me is just going back to a hospital. I've spent so many times in a hospital. Definitely not a fan of that hospital iodine in your face type of nose and taste to it. Then, of course, we had the Aaron small batch peated sherry cask, also a fantastic one. Unfortunately, I do not have any of that. I would like to go back to that one also to spend a little bit more time on the Aaron small batch peated sherry cask whiskey. Lagavulin, Bunnahabben Moin. Oh, that is also very nice, but I don't have that anymore on the shelf. Aerolite Lyndsay, Bowmore, the 12, the 18, number 1. Talisker, of course you have to go to Talisker, the 10, the Talisker Sky, the Talisker Storm. I drink it and I forgot about it. So for me that was nothing but stick. Artbeck, of course, is there, the 5 and the 10. I still have the Artbeck here. I paid 48 euros for this one. I'm still upset about it. You can see I haven't had much of it. Still not a fan. Just gonna give it a quick little peep. Actually, well, it's been many months, and to be honest, the smoke is gone. There's very little smoke in it. I did say in my initial review, wee beastie, I was thinking a lot more smoke. A beastie, well, maybe a small beast. Definitely a small beast. There the smoke appears. So it did need a little bit of time. So, very light smoke. Let me just give it a quick try. Maybe I can change my mind midway. Actually, it's not that bad anymore. That's another one for the collection. It's actually become much sweeter. Let me just try it again. Definitely a lot has changed in it. It's a little bit more mellowed out, a little bit more sweeter. Definitely on the nose, between the nose and the taste, big difference. On the taste is so much more of the peated taste to it, the smoky taste to it, a little bit of a medicinal note coming out now. Let me just give it one more. Actually, not bad. Bottled at 47.4% ABV. I don't get much of the alcohol. There's a little bit of a heat coming in. And then I've got that medicinal note on the finish. A little bit of a oak also coming out in the finish. So yeah, sometimes you have to go back. I didn't go back to this one in quite a long time. Not that bad now. A little bit of a bitterness in the end. Of course, the last one that I also tried is second last, the Kolila 12-year-old, if I think. Yeah, the Kolila 12-year-old. This one was given as a gift for me from a good friend of mine that worked with me. As you can see, it's not doing too bad. Also very medicinal type of nose on it, but I'm not going to spend some time on this one. 43% ABV. And the last one that I also tried, well, not all of them, but the last one that stood out a little bit for me was the Big Peat. I was super excited about the Big Peat. I mean, if you put a name on like Big Peat on it, I expect Big Peat. There was definitely not Big Peat or Big Smoke on it. Was quite disappointed on that one. So, but tonight I had to pick 5. And of course, the first one that I picked for tonight, that I think ticked all the boxes for me. And the more time you put it in a glass, and the more time you spend on let it oxidize in an open bottle, the better it got for me. This is something that I always, when I go to a pub and I'm in the mood for a whiskey, this is one of my go-to drams. It's available at any pub here in Belgium. And I have a wee bottle, and that is the 16-year-old Lagavulin. This for me is so fantastic. Of course, I don't have my glasses on it. ABV, 43%. It is Islay single malt, of course. It is matured in ex-bourbon and ex-sherry cask, so you get a little bit of that sweetness. So I'm just going to pour one. I don't have much left, so quite a lot of oxidation has taken place on this one. So, and every time I go back, I get such a nice flavors coming out. So the Lagavulin, 16-year-old, 43% ABV, ex-bourbon, ex-sherry. Oh, and it is just absolutely fantastic. So, nice sweet smoke. After so much time with an open bottle, the smoke has definitely gone down for me. So you have a nice sweet smoke, caramel coming out, a toffee note coming out, a little bit of a savory smoke note, a hint of a briny note also coming out. The raisins are there, the vanillas are there, and a hint of an orange peel. On the taste, cheers. So sweet, a hint of smoke, well balanced, a hint of a pepper spice in it, a little bit of a oakiness coming out, a hint of a smoke coming out, a hint of a vanilla coming out. That sherry, it's definitely not a sherry monster. The sherry is just barely visible. A little bit of a dried fruit note coming out as well. Absolutely fantastic. This one, I do like it. But what I did know, pour it in a glass, give it some time. Also, a neck pour is going to be a little bit harsh. And give it some time, put it back, leave it in the cupboard for a month or two, come back and try it again. Until you get maybe the first quarter out of the way, and then it starts changing with a little bit of a oxidation. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely a winner for most people that are not big into that peated monsters. The next one I have here somewhere. Oh, the Curiositas. I'm going to give that also a quick little pour. This one, oh, I liked it. I put this one as a head-to-head to so many whiskies already, and every time it came out the winner. It did meet its match with the Benromach, and I think I'm going to also include this one on it. So up to the Benromach 10, this was definitely a winner for me. The Benriach Curiositas 10-year-old. Absolutely. It's natural color, of course. Non-chill filtered, bottled at 46% ABV. And also, the same with the Lagavulin. A lot more of the smoke when you first open up the bottle. I've had this one open also for probably 6-7 months, if not longer. And I do get that diminishing smoke level on it. So very light. Fruity notes. No medicinal note, no hospital note, no iodine, no rubber notes. Nice little hint of a barbecue note coming out. A little bit of a caramel. Ooh, that's fantastic. Fresh fruits. There's a little bit of an apple, a little bit of a pear note coming out. A light honey also appearing. I just want to sniff it all up. So the light on the alcohol as well. I know when I did open up the first time, it felt a little bit young, youthful, strong alcohol notes. That is now also gone for me. A little bit of a dusty note. So on the taste, cheers. Sweet smoke, but quite more a savory type of smoke coming out. Almost no smoke left. Caramel, toffee. Definitely a light honey note coming out as well. A little bit of a floral note. And then a little bit of an oak spiciness coming in. But there's no bitter note. There's no coffee note, espresso note, dark chocolate note. Just all at one level. Quite well balanced. Absolutely fantastic. Especially if you're not a big peat fan. Now the next one. This was actually something that I won on a online stream. They were discussing the new whiskey, and one of them a random pick for a winner for this bottle of whiskey, and it came from the UK, the Masters of Malt. I was quite happy to win something. It doesn't happen often that I win some whiskey, free whiskey. So I was quite excited. It took a long time to get to me. Eventually it arrived, and we are talking about the Aerolite Lyndsay single malt Scotch whiskey, bottled at 46% ABV, natural color, non-chill filtered, and I have another clean glass. So just a little bit, of course, quite a funny name to it. It is just a little bit of a anagram, meaning 10 years of Islay. Matured in 70% bourbon cask, ex-bourbon cask, 25% ex-sherry cask. And they also have 5% but unknown cask that they don't give us information on it. And if I have to guess it, there's a hint of a Pedro-eminence in it. But yeah, definitely I think it's a hint of a Pedro-eminence. Quite a sweet whiskey. So on the nose, oh, this is also, now I think you've seen a little bit of a pattern. When I talk about my peated whiskey, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, he's going to go for the Lefroy's, he's going to go for the Arpex, he's going to go for the Octomores. No, I'm not definitely not going to go there. This is my profile. So little of the smoke goes a long way for me. So on the nose, cinnamon. I get a honey note, quite sweet on the nose. Red apples, and I get a little bit of a peach note on it. So subtle, so inviting, and I think just quite enjoyable on the nose. On the taste, cheers. This is absolutely fantastic. There is a hint of a medicinal note. There's a nice sweetness to it. I do get a little bit of a dark chocolate on this one. And a dark chocolate, not a euphemism for bitter, but it's got a little bit chocolatey note to it. And very little oak. And that's what I do like about this one. Let me just give it one more try. Also with time, when I first opened up the bottle, of course it was a neck pour, I did a review and I got a little bit of a bitterness. I get a little bit of a burnt caramel type of nose and taste, and I didn't get that now. Quite mellowed out, very little oak in the end. The next one, and unfortunately I don't have a bottle of that anymore, so I only had a sample, and of course that was the Benromach 10. Now, I was a little bit skeptical at that stage. I went through so many of these smoky whiskies, the peated whiskies, so I was not sure. So I decided only to buy a sample of it. I have a fantastic online store here in Belgium. They have a huge collection of opened bottles that you can get a sample from. Not always 100% sure where the bottle is. If was it a neck pour, was it half the bottle, almost empty bottle. So that can be that a little bit of a hit and miss. That you might find that it does not taste the same when you buy the full bottle. So keep that in mind when you do buy some samples. It is a single malt. It is a Speyside bottle. This one was a Gordon MacPhail independent bottler. Natural color, ppm was very light. I think 7 to 8 ppm, so almost non-existing. 80% ex-bourbon cask and 20% sherry cask, bottled at 43% ABV. And of course, when we look at the nose, it was absolutely, for me, one of the best sherried smoky whiskies that I have tasted in a long time. It had a dried fruit, dried apricots came out. Also a little bit of a fresh note as well. A little bit of apples and a pear note. The raisins definitely there, and a hint of a oak came out. Then I got a little bit of a vanilla and a cinnamon coming out. And of course, with a little bit of water, it also completely changed it for me. And you got the sweeter notes coming out. The sherry notes definitely elevated. Absolutely fantastic. On the taste, the smoke was definitely there, but it was such a mild smoke. It was more like a sherried whiskey. Well, it is a sherried whiskey, but it was more like a sherry monster for me than anything else. So you have this little Christmas cake in a glass. I got a little bit of an apple cider note. Absolutely fantastic. There was a little bit of a spices in it, that Christmas spices, creaminess, sherry cream. The alcohol for me was quite strong in the initial pour, but after some time it did also balance out for me. Fantastic. And then the last one, and this is something that I also bought a sample of. I've learned my lesson: buy a sample, try it before you buy it. And this one I just reviewed 2 days ago. And this one was also actually the reason why I made this video. And I still have part of the sample. I saved it especially for this one. So quite a generous sample. as you can see, it looks like water with a hint, maybe a very light straw. And for this specific purposes, and I'm running out of glasses, let me just finish. This is nice. So let me just finish up and clean this glass quickly. I'm going to add this one as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this one. And of course, what is it? As we get it, Islay. Whoa, this is cask strength. This is a Islay single malt, independent bottle, of course. It is a natural color, non-chill filtered, no age statement, bottled at an eye-watering 60.8% ABV. This is a independent bottler from Ian McLeod. Wow. The nose, it's for me, it's like opening up a bottle of a sweet white wine with a hint of smoke. You get that citrus note, you get a sweet note, quite perfumey. The parts per million, the phenols is about, probably for me, maybe 10, 15 maximum for me. The youthfulness of the alcohol is there, but if you give it a little bit of time, my word, it's nice. I get that little bit of a hint of a mint in the nose. Everything is just gentle, enjoyable. There's no big aromas. That citrus note also coming in. Oh, this is fantastic. It's not a in-your-face whiskey by any means of the imagination. Taste-wise, sweet, savory smoke. That bacon-covered maple on an open fire or in the oven. That crispiness, a little bit of a ham note coming out. It's got a hint of an oiliness to it, a creaminess too. And when I also get a little bit of a cut grass note on it, I get that herbal note, maybe a hint of a rosemary or thyme. That hint of a toffee note, a white chocolate note. Absolutely fantastic. And this one, add some water to it. It is strong. It didn't feel that strong, but I add water to it, and from there on, wow, that just blew my mind. That water created all that more sweetness, more of that bacony notes coming out, the toffee notes coming out. It's much sweeter. I'd also get a little bit of a sweet Asian pear note, a vanilla note coming out, a hint of a cinnamon coming out. That alcohol is still there, even if I added, I think I added about 2 spoons of water and about 20 ml, so quite a lot of water. It still showed that alcohol to me. A little bit of a minty note still came out, and just a hint of a oakiness coming out. So almost non-existing. We'll add water to it. Well, with the water, fantastic. Add some water. Oh, that is really, really nice. Get a little bit of a chocolate note on the water. This one for me, absolutely fantastic. For the rest, if I had to pick one, maybe it's because it's still fresh in the mind, but I really enjoyed it. My second choice, I think, is going to be the Benromach 10. Third choice, I'm going to go, it's a little bit of a toss-up now between the Aerolite and the, let me see, the Benromach 10. I think third choice, and then I think my definitely going to be my winner is the As We Get It. Absolutely fantastic. It is just made for me. I think if you don't like the peated whiskies, if you are not into that medicinal notes, and you want to try it, and then you might want to build up to that octomores in the end. Sometimes it's something that you need to grow accustomed to, and if you jump in on the deep end of the pool, you are definitely going to not enjoy it, and you're not going to go back. So for me, As We Get It, you guys are doing an awesome job. You might have converted me into looking deeper into the smoky whiskies. Maybe start increasing the ppms. Maybe in the end also end up with the octomore, and then I will be one of those little fanboys that everywhere where you go, you have to drink it, you have to drink it, this is the best thing ever, and I'm willing to pay my 150, 200 euros for that no age statement bottle. Okay, that's not going to happen. I'll never be into that type of silly prices for a no age statement whiskey, but I'm definitely trying to build up the ppms in the future. So thank you very much for watching. I know it's been quite a long video. You came this far. It's maybe a time to also subscribe. I have more than 87% of the people watch my videos every time that are not subscribers. Doesn't cost you anything. It helps my channel, of course, to grow. So please consider subscribing. Like this video so that YouTube can push it out to more people. And I see you next time with a new review. And I appreciate all your comments. Keep them coming. Cheers.